Hi students, in this session we are going to demonstrate the concept of index in SQL. So index is a schema object, or you can say it's a database object. It can be used by the database server to speed up the retrieval of rows by using a pointer. That pointer is nothing but a cursor which points to the memory location. It can reduce this input-output by using a rapid path access method to locate data quickly. That input-output is nothing but read and write operations. It improves the performance of the data retrieval queries. So how we can create index? So basically, when we apply primary key or unique constraint, the index gets created automatically. But some index are created manually, like simple index, composite index and unique index. So user can create this type of index manually. So let's start with simple index. To create simple index, first we require table. So for this, I have taken one table, students, and in students table there are various columns like role ID, name, email ID, marks and address. So here let's check for the data. So roll number 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, these are the role IDs. Some names are there, email IDs are there, marks and address data is also there. So here I have written SQL statements to create table as well as to add these records. So if we want to create simple index on the marks column, then we have to write query like create index, then we need to mention index name, then on clause. After that we have to provide table name, and then in a bracket we have to provide column name. So simple index allows us only one column. So this is how we can create simple index. Let's execute this statement. We can see the output index created. Now we have created index on the marks column, and in our data some marks are same for 2 or more records. So let's check this simple index is allowing us to create repeated data or to put repeated data. So here I am going to add one more record. For this I am writing query like insert into table name, that is students values. The next record will be having 15 as a role ID, then name D, then its email address. The marks will be 87.99 and the location is Prabhati. Let's execute this. You can see one row inserted. That means here we are allowed to put repeated values in the marks column even though we have created index. Index doesn't change table data. It just improves the access method for data retrieval. But what if we want to create composite index, that is nothing but the second type? So here, if I want to create composite index on the name column and marks column, that is nothing but combination of a name and marks data. For this, I have to write query like create index, index name on table name students and column list. So here you can observe I have not written composite keyword before this index. So what if I write composite keyword? So let's execute this. Create composite index, index name on table name and column list. So if I execute this, you can see one error, that is invalid create command, because this Oracle 10G Express edition doesn't support this composite keyword. So we don't require to write that keyword composite index. So simply write down index, index name and the column list. So let's execute this. Now we are getting message as a index created. When database server checks this statement, obviously database server will observe the column list. More than one columns are there, that means it is a composite index. That's why we don't require to write composite keyword in this particular database management system software. So let's check after this index creation whether we can add new data or not. So for this, here I have written one statement, insert into table name, that is students, then values, 16 is the role ID, then again D, that is repeated name, then email ID, again marks are repeated like the previous record, as well as location is Prabhadevi. Let's execute this. Again we can see one row is inserted as output, that means simple index and composite index. These both index or indices allow us to put repeated data into the table. But what if I create unique index? So here I have one column that is nothing but email ID. So you can observe the data. One is having abc@gmail, another user or student is having abcd@gmail. Some are having the same email ID. So if I try to create unique index with the help of this statement, create unique index, index name on students and the column is email ID. So I know repeated email IDs are already there. Then also if I try to execute this index, then definitely we will get an error. Cannot create unique index, duplicate keys found. So here we don't have any column or columns which don't have any repeated value except role ID, but I have created this role ID as a primary key, so that is not the good way to create unique index on the primary key column. So for this, solution is I am going to add one more column into the same table. So alter table students, add enrollment number and the data type is number 4. So here if I execute this, I am getting message as a table alter. Let's check the data. After adding this particular enrollment number, you can see new data is there for this particular column because we have just added this column. So now we can create unique index on this enrollment number column. So here create unique index, index name on students table and the column is enrollment number. Because enrollment number is same like the roll number, so I have selected this particular column for unique index. If I execute this, you can see index is created as a output. That means unique index doesn't allow us to put repeated values for the columns of the table. That's why this unique index creation is very special. Then if we want to drop index, then what will be the statement? So just like a drop table name, we need to write drop index and index. So if I execute this drop index, then simple index, that is same index marks. So we will get result as a index drop. Then the next one is a composite index. Again, we are getting message as an index drop. And next one is unique index. So drop index, index name. So again, we are getting message as an index drop. So after dropping the index, if you check for the data, of course, you will get the data which is same like before the index creation. As I told you, index doesn't change table data. It just improves the access method of a data retrieval process. This is about index creation and dropping of the index.